How will you decide expansion joint in a steel structure? See, this is also one of the most common question asked in an interview, and majority of the engineers are failed to answer this. See, IS 800-2007 provides the guidelines to manage this thermal expansion and keep the structure safe and stable. So, see, while designing a pipe rack, thermal expansion is a key factor, and as temperature fluctuates, metal structure expands and contracts, which can create stresses. See, expansion joints play a crucial role here. They help to accommodate these movements, prevent stress buildup, and avoid structural damage over time. So IS 800-2007 provides the guidelines on where and how frequently to place these expansion joints, depending upon whether the building structure is a covered building or open gantry. Now for all the beginners, let me tell you, covered building means warehouse or the shelter structures with the sheeting, and the open gantry means the open structure like pipe rack. So I have divided this particular segment into two parts: the single bay of longitudinal bracing and structure with multiple bracing. So let's start with a simple structure. See, let's say for a structure with a single bracing, if it's a covered building, the maximum length you can go without an expansion joint is 180 meters, and for an open gantry, this distance reduced to 120 meters. It means that if your pipe rack fits within this particular limits, you are good to go. But if you exceeds them, then you need to add an expansion joint to manage the extra stresses. Now let's talk about the second part. Now what if you have a more complex and lengthy structure with multiple bays of longitudinal bracing? See, here is where things change a bit. See, code has specified the distance between two brace line as well. See, the maximum distance between two brace line is restricted to 50 meters for a covered building and 30 meters for an open gantry. And this particular distance, the distance from the center of bracing to the nearest expansion joint, is limited to 90 meters for the covered building and 60 meters for the open gantries. So that's the first part. Now see, for the total length of the building section, let's say if it's 230 meters for the covered buildings and 150 meters for the open gantries, so if your structure is longer than this particular limits, it's time to install the expansion joints at appropriate intervals to manage the thermal effects. Additional consideration provided by the code is that in that particular segment, see, in addition to these distances, IS 800-2007 also advises keeping the length of the covered sections below 150 meters to avoid the excessive stresses. And see, if these guidelines are followed, you wouldn't need to perform separate stress analysis for the temperature effects, as the expansion joints will be handling that particular for you. Stay tuned for more such structural engineering updates. And remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. Thank you.